So, or slow goblet squat. So if you're an athlete with a bigger weight or you want to carry something heavier, this is also a perfectly fine option. And then the workout itself is kind of another bit of interval work. It seems to be working, so we'll kind of keep rolling with it. 8 goblet or front squats. I'll show you the difference when we get there. Bear plank pull throughs. Similar to what we've been doing, we're just making it a different plank shape. And then we have our half kneel windmills again. So we can kind of talk about where we are in that progression, how to apply it. Before we kind of jump in fully, I'd love to hear your name. My cat screaming. And something you're looking forward to this week. I had a Monday, a Monday kind of Monday. So I'd love to hear like something that makes you happy or something good that happened. My name's Kirstie and Nikki and I are going out to dinner tonight. So I look forward to going to dinner. Be fun. Joseph, how about yourself?
Elizabeth starts her first real job tomorrow.
Yay. It's wonderful.
So we're all employed, which is exciting.
Yeah. And I know it's been a long time. I know she's been looking forward to it's been a long process and I'm glad that she has something happening. It's good. Applying to jobs is the worst thing in the world, as far as I'm concerned, besides moving. But between those two things, agreed. Meg.
Uh, I, you know what? I'm just looking forward to progress this week. I have smashed all of my runs so far, which have gotten progressive. There have been 1 minute on, 1 minute walk.
Hmm.
And it's gotten progressive and they've been going really well. And today I get to do 2 minutes on, 1 minute off for 4 times, my first 2 minute. And it's really funny because I'm a little nervous about that 2 minutes. Will it go as well as the 1 minute? Will it be good? Will I fail? I don't know, but I'm excited to
Great.
try because that's the next step.
Next step. That's wonderful. See, that's kind of thing I can do. I can run 1 minute on, 1 minute off. Would I do it? Unlikely. No, that's lovely news. Glad to hear it. So we're gonna go ahead and if you feel free to edit out this section if you want, or keep it. We're gonna go ahead and start with our usual kind of floor warm up. Okay, so the cat cows, bird dogs, all that good stuff. But find yourself a bit of space on the floor. And let's just start with cat cows. Whistling is fine. You can kind of breathe however you choose to breathe through this one. After you completed roughly 10, it's okay to take a minute. We can switch to our bird dogs. This can be done with 1 or 2 limbs. So one limb would be kind of either legs only, okay, or arms only, or both. So 10 alternating bird dogs. Good. Don't worry about how high your feet are going. Mostly, can you squeeze your butt and keep your hips square to the ground? Good. 10 total. That's 5 per side. Let me finish. Okay, let's get I guess these are called 90-90 stretch, but whatever you want to call these ones. So basically, feet are shoulder width, popping legs off to the side. You can lean back to accommodate, keep that back flat. We're doing 10 total, right? 10 total rotations. depending on your floor, so I have a pretty thin rug here. If you're comfortable, we're gonna try and come into a kneeling position. So you do this by straight from the side. So as I come to the side, I can use my hands. I can put it between my knees. Nothing changes, okay? My butt squeezed, I open up, so squeezes back my cheek. I'm just opening up this hip, and then I get back down, I reverse process, sit back, and roll away from you, do that same thing. And let's do 10 of those. So we're gonna add on to, so if you need something underneath your knees or a yoga mat, that might feel nicer. I just have old knees for a young body, so. Good. We're trying to open up, I guess, both hips technically, right? So. Right, and if the floor is a bit hard, you can kind of obviously, I say skip this one or wait till you have something soft underneath your knees as you do this. Okay, let's get our inchworms. So this is just kind of warming up. The push-up in this inchworm does not have to be the push-up you're doing for part A or the first part of this. But as you walk out, you can just go ahead, touch your toes, bending your knees, walk out to your plank shape, right? Even dropping these is fine. Or lay down, even warm up. Walk your hands back towards your feet. You may stand up again or not. That's a personal choice, but I want to see, and this is quite a lot. Let's do 8 reps. So just kind of working your way through 8 reps, not worrying how fast. And we're going to go ahead and do a push-up at the end of that, Joseph. And don't worry about doing like a perfect push-up. You can just lay down and get up. We'll do our shoulder spin up shortly, but I just want to see how we're feeling today. Yeah. So sometimes when I'm warming up my push-ups or doing these inchworms, I'll just treat them, I'll scale them back from what I normally do, right? I want it to feel like it's like a warm-up jog versus, let's say, a workout pace. So similar idea. Standing up is optional. So some people prefer to stand up, some people don't. I have clients who get a little bit of vertigo when they change direction, and some people get dizzy if their head stays below their hips too long. So do what works best for you here. Good. And this is a nice way to just slowly get your core temperature up, heart rate kind of gently starts to rise across these 8 reps. Good. After this, we're going to do our shoulder spin up. So if you need to, we can again come to a standing position or enough room where you can swing your arms around without hitting anything. So as long as you have some room, I'm going to stand up for this one. So arms are going to be in your T shape. Starting small, gradually getting bigger. Doing total 10 rotations. Once you have 10 in one direction, we're going to reset back to our T shape. Thumbs are still up, backwards. Good. Get this up since it's falling off here. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is go arms forward and back. So give yourself a bit of a break off from that rotation. But just forward and back. Whatever resistance you get first is fine. We're not doing anything extreme. Let's go gentle. Tap. The back of the shoulder. Okay. Let's go thumbs down this time. So thumbs down. Okay. Thumbs for support. Gradually. Getting bigger. It's okay to rest before this next one. Sometimes you will need it. Thumbs pointed down, backwards, or the opposite direction you started in. Yeah, this one gets spicy. And that's okay. That's why we kind of start coming from a 90-degree angle and kind of see what we can manage with the elbows straight. So let's talk about our squatting. Let's start with 2 feet. We're gonna go air squats. I call these moon the skies. I think I've done these before, but just in case, we'll do them together. Oh, I'm at my barista woke up. Thank you. Okay, so his arm really just came into the door. I didn't even see his face. Okay, so we're gonna have my feet squat width. I know you can't see it, but they're about shoulder hip width. My hands are above my head, like I'm doing a jumping jack. From this side, I'm gonna squat down to my squat, whatever I can do, feet flat, back flat. And then I'm gonna put my hands or fingertips on the floor. So, or some yoga blocks if you can't reach. Lift your hips up, bring them back down, and hands back up. Okay. So let's do the first one together. Feet are where you like to squat from, hands are above your head. Squat down, keep that chest up, get your palms or fingertips towards the ground. Gently raise the hips if you have the room. Bring your hips back to your squat shape. Hands back above your head. And we stand. Good. Let's do 5. Good. Take your time with these. Don't worry, going quickly. Think of this like somewhere between, I say, actively practicing a squat and sort of moving through different, it's not quite a yoga flow, but we're moving through different parts of our movements. So let's go ahead and play with our goblet squat first. Even if you're not going to goblet squat and you plan on going single leg, that's fine. You can use something like a kettlebell, this little guy here, a dumbbell, or any kind of weight that you can carry at home that you can control. So ultimately, this slow or the tempo part of this is going to be kind of, think of it this way, just kind of a 2 count down, a 1 second hold, and that's just meant to show control. And then stand back up as fast as you want. The way you carry your kettlebell, very up to you, okay? Personally, I do it this way. Now everyone's a little bit different, so you can do it however you like to do this. You can keep it as close to your chest. I'm gonna go 2 counts. So 1, 2, hold 1, stand. 1, 2, hold 1, stand. Breathing pattern is breathe in, and then exhale or breathe out as you stand up. Let's practice 10 reps. Let's make it, depending on how heavy your weight is, let's put it that way. Nice job. Good. Depending on the weight you're carrying, I should say. So if it's on the heavier side, maybe do 5. If it's nice and light, it's kind of warm up weight, let's do 10. Now, can you face me for this next rep? Sorry, I'm looking at you. So let's, instead of kind of holding it this way, if we're holding it this way, we tend to round, right? If you can just drop the shoulder. Yeah. So however makes sense. That's why I kind of carry it to the side, because I'm just supporting it here. You can grab this. That's great too. Right? Again, it's whatever you find works for your personal preference, but we're trying not to shrug up the shoulders, right? So that's your tempo goblet squat. Of course, you have some heavier weights. You can certainly use them if that feels appropriate. We're doing what I write for this. So it was just doing this of 8 reps per leg. We're doing 8 reps, right? 8 squats up and down. For my athletes doing a single leg version of this, again, you can lift the back leg or not. This can be carried, the weight can be carried in a number of different ways. So I can either split squat with my weight next to me. So I can do my split squat here, right? My weight next to me. I could, if you want to play with a goblet position, I can hold it at my chest again. So I can do it right here, right? Want to, I can even add a leg lifted position. So just as a reminder, for athletes doing a Bulgarian split squat, you're gonna find your seat. Now the couch here, same thing applies. On the edge of my couch, I'm gonna extend my working leg. I have a little bit of a knee bend, but I'm not locked out. As I get up, it's a little awkward, but it works. If I do this from a goblet position, okay, I'm gonna make sure this is at my chest. Can't see my, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead, back foot's either laces down if I have shoes on, or toes. Follow the foot. It could be this. Breathe in, 2, hold, exhale. If this 8 reps feels like a lot, especially with that tempo, knock it down to 6, okay? Our push-up with rotation, I think is pretty self-explanatory, but just in case. You're gonna go ahead and do your push-up, whether you assist it with the knees or not. The rotation element is going to be at the end of the push-up, 1 rep, push-up, rotate, that's 1, push-up, 2, you get the idea. So let's do 4 sets. Working through these. Depending on how that first set of squats felt, weight-wise, that could count as 1. If you felt that felt warm-up-y, go ahead and add weight or complexity. All right, y'all, go ahead when you're ready. Single leg or double. For at least doing a split squat version, it's going to take a little bit longer, and that's okay. So don't worry about it. Good. Nice way. I can't see your hips, Joseph, but if you're bringing the feet back together, you don't have to. Yeah.
Like what?
So basically, you're doing great. All you have to do, so I'm guessing, let me know if this is the case. If you're kind of doing this, right? Instead, just keep your feet where they are. And yes.
Oh, I see.
So the split squat and a lunge are very similar. The primary difference is you don't step through again on the split squat. It's okay if your hip isn't coming into that kind of full stand-up position. It doesn't always. So it's a subtle difference, but that's okay. 6 push-ups, rotating on each rep. If we have some wrist stuff going on, putting your hands on a pair of dumbbells is a nice substitution for the wrists. Nice. Hey, look how deep you're squatting. Look at you go. That's great. Doing 4 sets here. Good. Just a nice steady tempo, right? So 2 down, 1 hold. Just showing control. Good. You're making that push-up as challenging as you want. So we've been doing a lot of half and windmill stuff. So this rotation actually should feel pretty familiar in a lot of respects. Wonderful. Good. So whether you're carrying your weight goblet style, meaning you kind of carrying in front, or for any doing split squats, carrying it to your side like a suitcase is also fine. Good. On the squat, whether you're doing single leg or otherwise, breathing in down, and a forced exhale as you stand. Yeah, good. Nice work. So unlike like a long exhale you do in yoga, it's more of like a, imagine like blowing into a balloon. Good. Good. Yeah, if you're just kind of taking that single leg squat, whether you're lifting it or not, sometimes the volume could be a little high. So taking that to unweighted is fine, or a lighter weight. You guys are moving through this pretty quickly, but if you're not feeling like you need to move at a fast pace, it's okay if you end up being a little bit slower or resting after the push-ups. So the emphasis is going to be kind of squat, push-up, rest, as opposed to resting between unless it's necessary. Meg, how are the $500,000 windmills feeling so far, just in general? Are they feeling a little less?
So far, fine.
Yeah.
Just using an easy weight so far, but I was using weight last week.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, that's the $500,000 windmill. I think, depending on if you look on the internet, there's a lot of things. It could be a hip mobility piece, which it's certainly true. I'm looking at this from perspective of a rotator cuff perspective. So can I rotate the shoulder, right? Basically through a natural range of motion, albeit at a light weight. So, you know,
Yeah, it definitely gets spicy in the shoulder, especially because I usually swim long on Mondays, so I can always feel it, but it feels good.
yeah, I'm glad to hear it. It's, I was gonna say, for anyone with a rotator cuff injury / maybe they had one in the past, this could be spicy, but hopefully people are scaling appropriately. Okay, that was that for you, Joseph? Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about part B. It's okay to kind of take a break while we do this. I'm gonna start from the bottom up, actually. So the third movement we're doing today, I have 4 reps. This is meant, and this is, I should say, I might even mean, we'll see. I think I meant 2 reps per side. So I'll rewrite that in the description. So 4 total, to be clear, 2 reps per side, of a half kneeling windmill progression. It says no weight. I think I copy and pasted that from a week before. So weight is optional. A weight here doesn't have to be huge. 10 pounds, in fact, is probably as high as I would go. Mostly, I don't need to do much. The half kneeling progression without weight, from the hips down, with something like this. You can have, right, this foot can be kind of off at an angle, and I can turn this foot in. So this is one of those things where as I sit back, so from the side, as I rotate, I can sit onto my right foot, my right hip. Okay. From here, my upper body, if we're doing just the hands or treating it more like a stretch, it's going to be, I think, kind of like Charlie's Angels. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, whatever leg is forward, I'm going to go ahead and reach that to the sky as I reach my opposite hand down to the ground. So kind of split myself in half. Touch. I'm going to look at my hand as I do this and come back up. Okay. So that's going to be kind of your motor control drill. For my athletes with weights, it's going to be slightly different. So my weight is going to be right overhead. So it's going to be over my head. You can't see my wrist, but it's there. Okay. And then you don't have to have your hands together, make like the thing, but you can then kind of go either to the side, look at your weight, and then come back up. Right? Looking at your weight, sitting back, coming back up. So we're doing 2 per side, and this is just because they take a while, and I want to be able to move through this pretty easily. If there's a side that you find is harder to control, I recommend starting on that side. And for my athletes using kettlebells, this is again personal choice. I like to go into the corner of my bell. So if my bells have like, it's not quite a corner, a little bit of corner, I like to go into the corner. So what happens is I have a nice relaxed grip, and I can kind of, my front rack's a little bit different, I know. But as I press from here, right, this option was quite nice. Instead of being here, you're still gonna have that pulled back, and overhead, it looks pretty similar. So overhead's gonna look something like this, right, where the bell is this way. So that's a way I carry the kettlebell is easier on the grip for me and less hard on the wrist bone. So that's your half kneeling windmill. Honestly, if you have a water bottle filled with water, that does the trick just fine. Our bear plank pull throughs. Could be the same weight or just your water bottle you're carrying. Your bear plank is essentially your tabletop position. We've done this with the full plank before, so we've done it this way. Now we're gonna do it this way. So knees are gonna be off of the ground just a little bit, okay? And you're gonna go ahead and pull through. Now you'll notice I shift a little bit here. That's okay. This one tends to be a little more shifty, as long as we're not intentionally moving back and forth. So as long as I'm not actively moving the hips, that's okay. Last piece, our goblet versus front squat. Goblet, we did a lot of that already, carrying just one weight in front. Front squat is 2. So front squat would be, sorry, a lot of camera moving today, would be this. So dumbbells on shoulders, right? You're gonna go heavier, breathing down, exhale, stand. So primary difference is where you're carrying it and how many. Okay. So we're doing 3 minutes of work, 1 minute of rest. 8 goblet or front squats. These could be air squats if you find weight to be too much. 8 bear plank pull throughs. So you're gonna do each pull through is 1. So every time you touch the dumbbell, it's 1 rep. And then 4 or 2 per side, half kneeling windmills with or without weight. Basically you're gonna start where you left off. So if I finish off on if I get through quote 1 round would be my squats, my pull throughs, and my windmills. And I'm gonna start where I left off after that minute rest. I'm gonna go ahead and get the clock rolling here. Before I do, for those of you present, you guys good?
Yep.
Cool. All right. We're starting our workouts in 3, 2, 1, and go. Good.
Six.
Good.
8.
So how much do those weigh?
You want?
Me?
Yeah. Mhm.
They're 15 each.
Okay, great. Just curious. Those kettlebell shapes, they could, yeah, the manufacturer, it's not like a dumbbell head where you can kind of guess. Sometimes you have a kettlebell body that looks huge, but it's 8 kilos. So I'm asking, just curious before we. Good. And the closer your knees are to the ground on that pull through, kind of like without touching, it's going to be kind of, I would say, harder than keeping the arms straight if you can make. So as you come up, try keeping the arms straight. Right. And if you need to go to a much lighter weight on that overhead piece, so it's okay if you're not using the same weight for your goblet or front squats than you are your half kneeling windmills. There's no need to. Good. Whoa. 9 pounds.
5.
5. Again, kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
So if you want to try this, Joseph, you can do 1 at a time even. So instead of having it, here's fine, by the way. Kind of makes you look Thor. It's kind of cool. But if you, same thing. So you have that in the corner position and have that thumb on your sternum. This is a more traditional kettlebell front rack. So try 1 at a time first. So go 1 at a time. You put that hand in the corner. Yeah, we talked about before. And then take that thumb and put it on your sternum. Yeah, that was good. Yep, and then have that thumb on your sternum. Yeah. So it's a little harder. So like I said, this is fine if you need to do this for the workout today. If you're practicing this on your own, 1 at a time might feel better. But this is technically a kettlebell front rack where it rests back of the wrist, bit of your bicep, and the rotator cuff has to work a little bit harder. This back of the shoulder has to stay retracted a little more. So anyway, feel free to take it or leave it. It's okay to kind of go to that kind of carry on top of the shoulders for the remainder of this workout. Nice job. Good.
The longest 3 minutes of my life. Just kidding.
And actually, that is your 3-minute mark.
Ah! I had a suspicion because usually I can make it through like 2 and maybe 1 move, but yeah. I was like, this has got to be soon.
It was 3:02. So give you extra 2 seconds of rest if it's really I'll give you your time back.
I'm not worried about that. There's usually 2 seconds of rest in between moves.
Yeah. You'd be surprised actually. If you look at the time spent between reps or sets, you're like, oh, that's longer than I thought. I'm always like, 10 seconds is a long time if you repeat that multiple times, and then you end up your workout's 20 minutes longer. I'm like, how'd that happen? It's because I was
It also depends on effort because 10 seconds at the side of the pool when you're just doing easy laps is forever, but 10 seconds when you're like busting
sprinting.
ass,
Agreed.
not long. You're like, oh my God, I'm still winded.
All right, my friends, we're starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. No, I totally agree. If you're warming up, you're like, oh, I want to go again. And then when you're full effort, you're like, can I have another minute, please? Thanks. Good. We'll say CrossFit taught me how to move quickly. And Olympic weightlifting taught me how to sit down. Like just sit and wait for your next lift. So it was a nice balance between the two, but it took 2 sports to kind of find a happy medium. Nice job. That was great, Joseph, with the front rack. I know it's harder, but I just won't be your butt that sort of day. I'll be upper back too. Good. Yep, 8 total on the pull-throughs. Good. I was going to take your time with these windmills. So we're doing 2 per side instead of 4 per side. Unless that weight's light enough, Meg, that's totally fine. Or depending on how long it takes you. So if it's a little slower, 2 per side is fine. If you tend to move a little faster and you move well and fast, you can do 4 per side.
I feel like it takes me 2 to just get into it.
That's fair. I think depending on the load you're carrying, it's going to vary, right? So I think it's one of those things where I actually would say, Meg, I'll say next time, Meg, try something. I would say slightly heavier if that feels okay. Obviously, if it feels okay, it's a big if. Doing it for, I mean, maybe we'll do it in less than a workout context, so we can kind of see if we can start to.
Definitely do heavier. I'm just supposed to run before I lift, and I'm running after I lift today.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I thought I'd take it. I do everything but do the easier weight for it.
Yeah, no, I respect that. That makes sense. So technically, you're supposed to run first today.
Yeah, I'm supposed to run before I lift.
Okay.
Right here? Yeah.
You have 30 seconds left before that minute rest. Good. As you stand up, or as you stand, I say come to a stick of kneeling instead of kind of bending the elbow, so you can get that elbow straight. So you also keep pressing up as you rotate back to standing. You're doing great, Joseph. But try not to keep that elbow bent, so we can lock that elbow up. Not everyone can, and that's okay. And rest. You can rest, Joseph. You have a minute. Yeah. Good. Let's pause. Let's do one more 3-minute interval. We'll check in. If that dose feels appropriate, we'll stop at 3. Right? I think you guys are doing just fine, but I'll kind of let you give me feedback here. I wrote down 5 times, and I'm not sure if that's something you're interested in. You got to kind of tell me. Or honestly, if it feels like an appropriate dose. I know, Meg, you're running later, so I want your biking to work, Joseph. So I want to make sure that feels okay.
I'm running, I think 4 sounds really,
Let's do 4. So that should be like a reasonable compromise. Unless you want to do 5, Joseph. No, that's a no from Joseph. No, thank you. All right, 3 sets of 1 minute off, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, 4 times, not 5. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. Again, back where you left off. So whatever movement you were on. Good. Yeah, nice job. As it gets heavy, it's okay. Just so you can breathe through that movement. It's okay if there's a breath hold here and there, not the end of the world. Nice job. Go. If it helps, you can look at your hand or the weight in your hand for that half kneeling windmill. As I kind of come back to a kneeling or upright position, I tend to look forward, but again, depends on if you get dizzy or not. Good. And it's okay for these half kneeling windmills to be kind of the skill piece of it, if you will, right? So the slower part, or if you're going heavier on the squats, that might be your skill piece for the day. Good. Not a shout out. I'm not sure I'd go 15-pound kettlebells on my front rack or my front squat. So good for you. 15-pound dumbbells and kettlebells to me are a very different beast, personally. Good news, you have a minute before you get rest. All right. Go. Nice. Good. Get that wrist over your shoulder, right? So the shoulder's rotating around a fixed object, as long as that rotation feels like it's safe. That's great. Both of you are doing a great job with the half windmills, but for anyone at home who can't reach the floor, a yoga block is a great option here. Reaching for something that you can't reach the floor fully. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Last rest interval into your last bit of work. And that'll leave us about 7 or 8 minutes. So with that 7 or 8 minutes, you can cool down on your own. I would say, if anything, maybe a bit of rollout, or yeah, I know you're biking to work, Joseph, but walk around the block or just kind of cool down a little bit. The other thing is you will foam roll afterwards. So if you can stay, you're welcome to, but don't feel obliged. Keep my phone up here so I can look at your face. It's not just on the floor. Okay, we have 10 seconds till we last 3 minutes of work. Okay, 5, 3, 2, 1, go. Nice job. There you go. There you go. Yep, looking at your hand on that half kneeling windmill. You can keep the elbow straight, great. If not, stop where the elbow has to bend or press up. Nice work. Good. Let's in control in both directions on that squat, Meg. Don't have to drop down super fast, right? It's not gonna. Yeah, there you go. Just steady. It's great. Nice. Yeah. Good. Last minute of work for the morning. That's steady. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there you go. It's gonna sound just funny to keep the shoulder blades back as well on that front rack. I know it's kind of a counterintuitive thing, the idea, but nice proud chest as you're squatting down. There we go. Yep. 15 seconds. Three, two, one, and rest indefinitely. As in, we're not doing that again. Nice job. So for everyone at home, it is 4 rounds, not 5, unless you want to. Cool. Your heart rate's come down a little bit. Again, we have about 8 minutes remaining, so we'll cool down a little bit. For anyone who wants to join, a foam roller is nice, not required. Any kind of mobility toys you might have. Even like a soft squishy ball will do the trick here. So it's not necessarily, foam roller isn't required, but I think it's a pretty low. Most people have one, or many, if not all. So I'm guessing butts will be sore again. But let's also touch the kind of upper, well, actually you tell me, upper back, or I don't know, is there anything that you might want to, or I should say even outside of strength training or in your life in general, is there something that's been bothering you or / could use a little bit of help?
Just glutes.
Just glutes. Okay, I dig it. So rolling out the front of the legs is always good. Quads are always just an easy target because of course they are. So I would say with this, quads are good. Roll those out. You can kind of then go ahead and take that figure 4 that you've done before and kind of just rolling on. So I'm on my right, I could say hip / butt cheek, if you will, whichever, pelvis. And you can kind of bias more the hip by rolling, right? This lateral hip. And I have weight in my hands here and my opposite foot. So I'm not putting my full body weight into this. Again, rule of thumb, if you can breathe in through your nose and full exhale, even if you're uncomfortable, you're fine. If you have stopped breathing, you've gone numb, or it's nervy, you should stop pretty much immediately. So either way, spending about, I don't say minute per side, but certainly a good dose and response. So it should feel therapeutic. If you have a ball, the same rule kind of applies. So I put my ball kind of in my butt and then I kind of start to roll around. But a foam roller is a much more basic tool. I find it's a little less painful. In fact, since we have the time, I want to show you one more. So, I might have showed this to you before, so apologies if this is redundant. We're going to go for the adductors. That's adduction. So like adding together. This inseam basically. This is one that I think gets overlooked a lot, myself included. It makes me want to cry. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and take my foam roller. It's going to be perpendicular to me, like chopsticks. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go towards the groins. That's where I'm less sensitive in terms of like my knee pain. And it's on the inside of my thigh. I have weight on my elbows like a forearm plank, and my opposite was there to help me. I'm just going to take a big breath in and slowly but surely exhale and add weight to that foam roller. Now that's step one. If this is causing you extreme amounts of discomfort, maybe this is where you hang out. If you're feeling good, you're like, maybe I'm going to kind of pump my leg, extend the leg, kind of out to the side. That's an option. You can even lift the foot to internal rotation, for which I have barely any at all. Breathing consistently. Right. And you can kind of start in a spot. I'm in the middle of my adductor at the moment. You can move down towards the knee or up towards the groin, up to you. Just making sure breathing stays consistent. Movement is optional. All right. Just kind of the weight of my leg is doing most of the work here. I don't have to work too hard to make this effective. Yeah. Like I said, this one makes me want to cry a little bit, but I always find that I immediately feel, I don't know if it's better. I don't feel bad, but I feel like I can squat and move much better. Good. Breathe. If it's too much, back off or add a little weight back into those supports. So back into your forearms, back into your opposite leg. Good. This is going to sound funny. If there's a spot that feels really painful, but you're breathing, okay? That's a big caveat. You need to breathe. You can do what we call contract, relax. So I know it sounds counterintuitive. It's already painful, but you're breathing. Find a spot that feels a little bit, what your PT will call sensitized. That's neutral language for it hurts. Okay. And you're going to go ahead and take a big breath in, contract into that spot of pain, and then as you exhale, you relax. So what we're doing is here connecting is your brain to your body. So by breathing in, contracting into that point of compression, and then exhaling and relaxing at the same time, you're kind of telling your brain that, you know what, you're fine. You're just uncomfortable. So that's why breathing is such a critical piece of this. Again, motion is optional. But contract, relax is a nice way to just kind of get past maybe a spot you just can't quite work into, right? But if you're holding your breath, not because you're contracting and relaxing, it's too much. For anyone getting tired, just stack your fists like the Lincoln blocks. You can rest your forehead on your hands. So this is overlooked, not that you need to do this every day, but after squatting or deadlifting can be nice. And hopefully on your bike ride into work / just walking around, you feel a little less stiff.
Shitty.
We hope. Friend, it is 6:59. I wish you a good rest of your Tuesday or whenever you're watching this in the future. And feedback is always welcome. Just keep it, keep it helpful, not mean. I think the word is constructive. That's what I'm looking for. All joking aside, Joseph, I know we all joke like my butts. You guys are doing okay, right? It's the appropriate amount of discomfort. Yeah. Okay. If it gets to the point where you're like, I can't actually bike to work because my ass is too sore, that's too far. Don't go so far that like
it's just slow.
If he can't bike to work because his ass is too sore, he should probably not use the giant kettlebells for his squats.
I was gonna say those.
My selection is limited.
I mean, all joking aside, I think this is 18 pounds, which I guess is not any better than yours, is it? Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair. Honestly, that single arm front rack is a nice, like, instead of doing 215s, is a nice, and you can switch arms. A nice way to practice front racking. Nice job, guys. Good work. Meg, I do have a question for you about, just a quick question about the Training Peak stuff.
Yep.
So,
Bye, Joseph. See
I have a
ya.
question for Megan too, because I have a 45-minute bike and a 30-minute run. If I commute to work, can I substitute, or do you prefer me do the bike?
You can do the run.
Perfect. I will let you know what happens.
I think I used to put, when you first started commuting, I used to pick one and say, if you're commuting, skip this one. So
Is that
I
the
think-
general rule of thumb?
yeah, you can skip one a week if you're bike commuting.
Got it.
Not every
Yeah,
ride.
yeah. Got it. Okay, just confirming. Bye.
bye. So far, obviously, I'm setting up the kicker bike for the interval stuff, so I need to
Yeah.
kind of mess with that a little bit.